Happy 4th of July, Flyers fans. This is Conor. Welcome into Sports Live in the 215 for the 4th of July edition of the Flyers off-season review podcast. The Flyers front office had a very busy off-season, highlighted by the NHL draft as well as some key signings to some future pieces of their core. So with that being said, let's get into it. First, let's start with the big fish. Matvei Mitchkov signed his 3-year entry-level contract after forgoing his last couple years with Scott in the KHL. So that's good to see. Like in the off-season preview show, I mentioned how I believe Matvei Mitchkov could be a franchise-altering player for the Orange and Black, and it seems like Danny B and Jonesy got their guy to finally come over, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see this guy on the ice in the Flyers sweater. Yeah, it's just gonna be really, really exciting, and I personally cannot wait. And I know most Flyers fans can't wait. So with that being said, let's get to a really key re-signing they made just yesterday, signing defenseman Bobby Brink to a 2-year, $1.5 million contract to bring him back. I think that's a really, really solid signing. You get a piece of your decor back, and that's always really good to see. And Jonesy and Daniel Briere are taking the right steps to take care of their young core, and that's always a big step in a rebuild is taking care of those foundational pieces. So yeah, that's really, really good to see. Let's get to the draft. For me, the Flyers draft was really really only headlined by one key piece, and that was centerman Jett Luchanko. That guy's playmaking ability, along with Matvei and maybe Tyson Forrester, could anchor your top line for years, and along with Bobby Brink and Cam York being your top line defensive pair. That's just a really good draft pick. That I looked up his highlight tape after the Flyers drafted him, and his playmaking ability is second to none, as far as really anybody in the draft class. So the Flyers have seemed to have gotten a really, really solid player, and I'm excited to see how it all shakes out. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether Tyson Forrester or Owen Tippett will have some eventual minutes on the top line with Mitchkov and Luchanko. I just think either one of those guys could produce as a top line scorer, even though um, Tippett really didn't get a big chance to do that the last couple of years. I I feel like if he was called upon, I feel like he could produce at a really high level. Um, I'm I'm really excited. Uh, I'm just really excited um, to see how it all shakes out and just like the future of this Flyers organization um, is so just it's just so exciting, and it's gonna be fun to watch. And one of the key things over the past couple of years is um or yeah over the last couple of years is John Tortorella's handling of young players. Like he he seems to be a lot more not I don't want to say coddling because that's not the right word, because he still expects his young players to play hard and skate the 120 feet with reckless abandon. But he's a lot more. I want to say a lot more lenient when his young players do make mistakes, and he seems to be a lot more understanding and a lot more willing to kind of roll with the punches. Like traditionally, Tortorella from what I've heard is kind of like this stereotypical hard ass hockey coach um, that expects perfection, and he doesn't ask his players to do anything that he would not do himself, and that's a really good quality to have in a coach in any sport. And obviously, the coaches in this city do that in different ways. Like you have Nick Sirianni like firing up the Eagles in the locker room before the game, and you have Rob Thompson's quiet confidence, and then you have um, Nick Nurse's tough but fair kind of approach, and I think that's more of Tortorella's style, and it seems to work for the young guys. I mean, they were, I want to say, a win away from getting into the playoffs, and they just unfortunately couldn't close the deal. So it's really I'm just so eager to kind of watch these next couple years. It's gonna be fun, and I personally can't wait. Um, and having all these young guys develop at kind of a what am I trying to say? Like along the same timeline is really it's certainly promising for the future of this franchise. Like I said in the off-season preview pod, I feel like they could contend for like 5 to 10 years, and I don't think that is a I don't think that's like a hot take or a crazy thing to say. Like Danny Briere and Jonesy are kind of they're they're um they're kind of stripping, not necessarily stripping the big club, but they're kind of putting their scouts and director of player personnel people. They 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 knew what kind of they knew the right people to hire in to build a winner in this day and age. So um, that's always good to get the right people and have them hire the right people to kind of put this organization back where the fans expect it, and back where everybody in the organization expects it. And I'm personally just so I'm ready for some Flyers hockey. I know it's July 4th, and we're all locked in on the Phillies, but I'm super excited to I'm super excited to see that first puck drop, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Um, yeah, it's I'm just so amped up. I think these young players are gonna prove a lot this year, and as the old saying goes, there's nothing more dangerous than a desperate team with nothing to lose. And these young kids sometimes when you're young, um, sometimes when you're young you don't know better than to just play your heart out, and hey, you might win, you might win 49, you might win 45 or 50 games. You just never know. And I think honestly the uncertainty would scare some people off, but for me that is what fires me up about this upcoming season for the Flyers. And I'm really just juiced up and ready to go. So wanted to I wanted to thank you guys for listening to this, and it's gonna be a fun year, and I personally can't wait for it. Have a good day, guys.